Let's just say I'm Frankenstein's monster.
I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein!
Say it out loud.
Frankenstein.
My name, it's pronounced Frankenstein.
Hello and welcome back to Franken-Fridays, the first or maybe second Friday of every month. We're going to watch a Frankenstein movie and talk about it. On the road to Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, coming out at some point later this year. This episode, Bride of Frankenstein. The original Frankenstein was a big hit, so they made a bunch more. This one I liked a lot more. A lot more happens, it's more engaging, and in some ways it's a little bit closer to the book, or rather it does more things that are from the book. I still haven't read the book, but there's a lot of like famous scenes of Frankenstein that are in this movie and not the first. They also do a better job with the credits this time, which is nice. Boris Karloff gets top billing before the title of the movie. He's now a big star, so fuck yeah, they credit him properly. Look at that, Mary Shelley is actually listed here. We even get a little fun intro sequence where Mary Shelley and her husband are portrayed and like talking about the story that she wrote, and that is used as a way to like recap the first movie. And then she's like, oh, actually there's a bunch more that happened, let me tell you more. And then that like transitions into the rest of the movie, which I think is a very fun way to do to one, recap the first movie, and B, introduce, hey, there's actually a bunch more to the book, and we're gonna do a lot of that in this sequel. So the monster escapes the burning of the windmill from the last movie, and now the town is after him, and he's bumbling his way through trying to understand what it is to be human, or to be alive. We get the very charming and very iconic scene with the blind man in this one. There's this old blind man living alone in the woods, and he hears Frankenstein come in, and Frankenstein can't talk, and he's like, oh, you can't talk and I can't see, maybe together we can kind of understand each other. I've been so lonely, I just want a friend. And this is where Frankenstein learns that the ultimate quest of humanity, which is that it is not good to be alone.
Alone. Bad. Friend. Good.
It's a very charming little sequence. Frankenstein starts learning to talk. Also, I'm going to call the monster Frankenstein because I don't care. Everyone knows it's the doctor. But sometimes I'm just going to call the monster Frankenstein. I don't care. Meanwhile, the doctor also somehow survived falling off of this windmill and pinwheeling like that guy from the Titanic. He gets approached by this even crazier doctor who had a great name. It was like Professor Pretorius or something, who is also on a quest to create life and play God. And he's like inspired by Frankenstein, and he's like, if we work together, imagine what we could accomplish, what we could create. And then there's this crazy sequence where he shows him, this is what I've been working on, and he shows him, he's built these little guys, and he's like, yeah, I've made these little guys in these jars, and it's like the craziest effects, one of the craziest effects I've ever seen, especially for a movie from the 30s, because it's like, I know they did a VFX artist's breakdown of this, but like, I forget how they did it, because it's insane. There's like these little guys running around on this desk, and the like regular full-size guys are like in the frame, like interacting with the stuff on the desk, and the desk stuff looks regular size, but the guys are tiny and they're like jumping on shit. I don't know how they did it. It's incredible, and it's so out of pocket and out of nowhere. And Dr. Frankenstein's like, I don't know why you need me, because what you made is basically magic. I don't know how you did that, but that's way more impressive than what I've been working. I just electrocuted some dead guy, and he came back to life. You made a little guy on and he's in a jar, and he's running around from scratch, from a box of scraps in a cave. Why do you need me? It's fucking so out of pocket. absolutely not in the book from from what I remember. And then they just move on. He's like, no, we gotta make another Frankenstein. He's like, oh, we gotta follow in God's footsteps. God created man, and then he created woman. So that's what we're doing next. We gotta create a bride. And so then they start working on that. Eventually, Frankenstein's monster comes back and finds them, and they're like, don't worry, we're gonna, or no, the professor's like finds him, and he's like, they team up. He's like, I want to make you a wife, and the monster's like, cool, I don't want to be alone, that sounds good to me. I'm kind of spoiling it, but again, like, it's an old movie, you can look up what happens or whatever. I don't think it really matters. So eventually they make the Bride of Frankenstein, who looks awesome, great design. Again, such an iconic look, not really like anything described in the book, but incredible. And as a fun little throwback, they do the same thing as the first movie, where it's like the bride's or the monster's bride, ? Who plays her? We don't know. And I had to look this up to confirm, because they don't say it in the credits, but she's actually played by the same actress who plays Mary Shelley at the start of the movie. So that's like a fun little Easter egg. And I think there is something kind of fun about the Bride of Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster being two of the most iconic monster characters in all of horror and sci-fi, and drawing a parallel between them and Mary and her husband, Percy, who I was hard on in the first movie, but like, he did help Mary get published and was like a big supporter of her work. So I can't be too hard on the guy. He seems to be like a genuine champion of her and was like, no, like, this shit is cool. People need to read it. So I think there's something kind of fun about like Mary and Percy being this like writer, because I think he was a writer also. I forget. There's something kind of fun about like them being kind of a power couple in horror sci-fi fiction, and then the bride and the monster also being kind of a power couple in monster movie iconography. But anyways, the bride's in the movie for like 3 minutes and then it ends. It's like, there's so much build up to it, and there's a lot of really great stuff with Frankenstein and learning how to speak, and all the scenes with the blind man are great. But then, okay, so then the bride becomes alive, the monster tries to like hit on her, and then she freaks out because he's weird looking, and also she's been alive for 2 seconds and doesn't know what the fuck is happening. And then the monster's like, fuck it, I'm blowing up everything, and he blows up the miniature castle, and it looks great, and then the movie ends. And it's like, oh, okay, that's it, I guess. Another like short, under 90 minutes. But I think I had a lot more fun with this one, because one, crazy out of pocket miniature tiny little guys running around effects that blew my mind and look insane and hold up better than most current day. Like, it looks so good. I can't explain it. And also just more scenes with the monster interacting with people and doing shit and learning what it means to be human and what it means to be alive, and like finding universal truths, like it's bad for people to be alone and you need friends to kind of get through the horrors of life. Like, there's a lot of compelling stuff in this one. And then the bride was barely in it, which frustrated me. There's a billion more sequels to this, so I don't know if she like ends up showing up in a later movie, but like, for such an iconic character who gets like, again, like parodied and the iconography of the design gets reused time and time again. She's barely in it. She's in it for like 2 minutes, and then the movie ends. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments or something if she shows up in a later movie, and maybe I'll watch that. But I do want to check out some of the other versions of the story and other adaptations. But maybe I'll go back and watch some more of the old classic ones, because I do think there is something kind of fun about this era. So that's this one. I liked it. I wish there was more with the bride, but the stuff we got with the main monster was all excellent, and some crazy effects that are completely out of nowhere, and then they barely address them again. It's nuts. Yeah, that's it. Tune in next time for another episode of Franken-Fridays. Leave a comment of what other Frankenstein movies I should watch. That's it. Bye-bye.